welcome back to Beyond Reality. We were taking a break during the holidays, but we are back to explore the intersection of innovation and rehabilitation. I'm your host, Brianna Hodge, and as always, I'm thrilled to dive deep into another fascinating topic with my co-host and esteemed colleague, Claire Ashborne. Claire, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Brianna. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to today's conversation because we're touching on something so vital. The way virtual reality is reshaping rehabilitation while still respecting and incorporating traditional methods. It's such an exciting time to be in this field.
I couldn't agree more. This blend of tradition and technology is something that's been on my mind a lot recently. You know, when I think about how far we've come, from the early days of purely manual therapies to incorporating advanced tools, it's clear that each step forward has built upon a foundation of tried and true practices. And yet, there's this incredible energy around innovation now, particularly with virtual reality. I'm eager to unpack how this technology doesn't just replace traditional methods, but complements and even elevates them in ways we're only beginning to understand. To start, could you share your perspective on why it's important to bridge traditional rehabilitation techniques with innovative technology like VR, rather than replacing the old methods entirely?
That's a fantastic question, Brianna, and it really gets to the heart of why this topic is so important. Traditional rehabilitation techniques, manual therapy, guided exercises, and even basic occupational therapy tools are the foundation upon which modern rehab is built. These methods have been refined over decades, and they work because they're grounded in a deep understanding of human anatomy and physiology. However, they're not without limitations. For instance, traditional therapy often lacks the ability to fully engage patients beyond the clinical setting. This is where virtual reality becomes a game changer. Let's break this down by focusing on 4 critical factors: engagement, adaptability, access, and measurable feedback. First, engagement. Traditional therapy often requires repetitive tasks, which can lead to boredom or frustration for patients. Studies like one published in Neuro Rehabilitation and Neural Repair have shown that VR environments significantly boost patient motivation. For example, instead of asking patients to lift weights repeatedly, VR might simulate an interactive game where they're throwing virtual objects or completing a mission. This level of immersion keeps patients actively participating. Second, adaptability. Traditional methods can be limited in tailoring exercises to the patient's immediate needs. In contrast, VR systems, like those developed by Neuro Rehab VR, allow therapists to adjust difficulty levels in real time based on performance. A case study from a stroke rehabilitation program using their XR therapy system highlighted how therapists could create custom exercises, whether it was focusing on range of motion or improving reaction times, to meet specific recovery goals. Third, access. Traditional rehabilitation often requires patients to visit clinics multiple times a week, which isn't feasible for everyone due to geographical or financial constraints. VR can bring therapy into patients' homes. For instance, a study from Frontiers in Neurology revealed that patients using home-based VR systems maintain therapy consistency better than those using standard at-home exercises. Programs like Neuro Rehab VR's home-based solutions have made a substantial impact in underserved communities. Lastly, measurable feedback. Traditional methods often rely on subjective observations from therapists to assess progress. VR systems, however, provide detailed analytics. Metrics such as range of motion, response times, and adherence are tracked and presented in real time. A pilot study by Neuro Rehab VR reported that therapists using their analytics tools could pinpoint which exercises yielded the greatest improvement, allowing them to fine-tune therapy plans with unparalleled precision.
Thank you for the detailed information, Claire. I'm so glad you brought up these critical factors because they truly illustrate why VR is such a game changer in rehabilitation. The engagement factor alone is transformative. I recall a 2021 study from the Journal of Neuroengineering and Rehabilitation that compared traditional treadmill walking exercises with VR-enhanced gait training for patients recovering from spinal cord injuries. The VR group showed greater improvements in gait symmetry and reported feeling more empowered, as the virtual environments provided a sense of purpose and challenge.
Adaptability, as you mentioned, is another area where VR shines. Let me share another real-world example. Researchers at the University of Michigan studied VR's use in pediatric rehabilitation. They found that children recovering from orthopedic injuries were more willing to participate in therapy sessions when VR games were involved. Therapists could adjust the difficulty level to match each child's progress, keeping them engaged and challenged without overwhelming them.
That's such a compelling example, and I think the access factor is just as crucial. It's inspiring to see how VR is helping to close the gap for patients in rural areas or those with mobility limitations. Before we continue, Claire, let's take a moment to shine a spotlight specifically on Neuro Rehab VR. They've truly become a bridge between traditional rehabilitation practices and cutting-edge VR technology. What makes their approach stand out to you?
That's an excellent question. Neuro Rehab VR is leading the charge in integrating evidence-based rehabilitation practices with immersive VR experiences. Their XR therapy system, for instance, is a comprehensive platform designed to support both physical and cognitive rehabilitation. What sets them apart is their commitment to making therapy highly personalized and engaging for each patient. One key feature is the system's adaptability. Therapists can design custom therapy plans tailored to a patient's specific needs, whether it's improving mobility, enhancing balance, or addressing cognitive deficits. For example, I recently read about a stroke patient who used Neuro Rehab VR to regain motor function. The therapy involved navigating through a virtual city where the patient had to reach for objects and avoid obstacles. This gamified approach not only accelerated recovery, but also boosted the patient's confidence in performing daily activities.
That's incredible. What I find fascinating is how Neuro Rehab VR integrates measurable feedback. By providing therapists with real-time data, such as range of motion and adherence rates, they can adjust therapy plans dynamically. It's a level of precision that traditional methods often struggle to achieve.
Exactly. Another standout feature is the system's accessibility. Neuro Rehab VR has developed solutions for both clinical and home use, which is a game changer for patients in underserved areas. A pilot program they ran in partnership with a hospital in Texas demonstrated remarkable outcomes. Patients using the system at home not only maintained consistency in their therapy, but also reported higher levels of satisfaction compared to those using traditional methods.
Thank you for letting us know, Claire. Next, I want to highlight a recent study from the Lancet Digital Health that examined VR's effectiveness in post-stroke motor recovery. Researchers found that VR therapy not only improved patients' fine motor skills, but also enhanced their confidence in performing daily activities. What stood out was the patient's feedback. They consistently mentioned feeling more in control and motivated compared to traditional methods.
That's a fantastic example, Brianna. Another compelling study came out of the American Journal of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation. This research focused on older adults recovering from hip fractures and compared traditional physical therapy with VR-based interventions. The VR group demonstrated a 35% faster recovery in mobility and reported significantly higher satisfaction with their therapy sessions.
These findings really underscore how VR can make rehabilitation more impactful across diverse populations. I recently spoke to a therapist who used Neuro Rehab VR's XR therapy system with a patient recovering from a traumatic brain injury. The patient's therapy included navigating through a virtual landscape, which involved cognitive and motor challenges. The therapist said that the combination of real-time feedback and immersive tasks accelerated the patient's recovery timeline while making the sessions more enjoyable.
That's such an inspiring story, and it aligns with the growing body of evidence that VR can enhance both the physical and mental aspects of recovery. A 2022 study in Neuro Rehabilitation and Assistive Technologies highlighted how VR therapy reduced anxiety and depression in patients undergoing cardiac rehabilitation. By incorporating calming virtual environments during exercise, patients reported feeling more relaxed and less intimidated by the therapy process.
It's fascinating how VR can address not just the physical, but also the psychological barriers to recovery. Let's take a closer look at another research paper from Frontiers in Psychology. This study explored the use of VR to help patients with chronic pain. Participants were immersed in calming environments like tranquil forests and ocean views while engaging in guided movement exercises. The findings were remarkable. Participants reported a significant reduction in pain perception, with many describing the experience as a welcome distraction from their usual discomfort.
Chronic pain is such a challenging condition to treat, and VR offers a non-invasive way to alleviate it. Companies like Neuro Rehab VR have also started exploring this area by integrating mindfulness exercises into their programs. A case study published in Pain Medicine showed that patients who used VR mindfulness sessions experienced a 25% greater reduction in pain intensity compared to those using traditional relaxation techniques.
Speaking of mindfulness, there's another layer to VR's impact: cognitive rehabilitation. A study in Journal of Alzheimer's Disease examined how VR could help older adults with mild cognitive impairment. Participants navigated virtual environments to complete memory-based tasks, and the results showed not only improved memory retention, but also increased confidence in their cognitive abilities. It's fascinating how VR can engage the brain in such targeted and effective ways.
Cognitive rehabilitation is an area where VR truly excels. I've seen it firsthand with patients recovering from strokes or traumatic brain injuries. The ability to create customized cognitive tasks, like solving puzzles in immersive environments, makes therapy both challenging and rewarding for patients. And the data we gather during these sessions helps therapists identify specific areas for improvement.
Claire, this conversation has been incredibly insightful. The depth of research and real life applications we've discussed today truly highlight how VR is revolutionizing rehabilitation. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like to share with our listeners?
Just that we're at a pivotal moment in rehabilitation. The integration of VR is not about choosing between tradition and technology, but about finding harmony between the two. By embracing innovation while honoring the principles of traditional therapy, we can create more effective, engaging, and accessible care for patients. And I hope today's discussion inspires therapists to explore these possibilities in their own practices.
Beautifully said, Claire. I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for sharing your insights today, and thank you to all our listeners for joining us. If you're curious about incorporating VR into your rehabilitation practice, check out our show notes for resources and links. Until next time, this is Brianna Hodge and Claire Ashborne, reminding you to keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible. Bye for now.
Bye, guys. Thank you for listening.